Hey guys. Just to give you a little bit of context to this conversation I'm about to get into with my Aunt Regina. A few days ago, basically, I did a conference for Buganda where it was like a convention webinar where Ugandans collected from all over the globe on an online event where we discussed ways in which to improve Uganda and also particularly the Buganda Kingdom, which is where I'm originally from. And so industry expertise ranging from agriculture to finance to technology and the textile industry all presented ideas and industry expertise on ways in which we can improve our country using our respective fields. And so when I spoke about the textile industry, I had a really interesting chat with my Aunt Regina, where she actually lived through that time, and she was sharing with me how great the textile industry was back in her day. She was sharing with me stories about how she wore clothes that were made by Uganda, by Ugandans, and how the textile industry was booming. School uniforms were all made from home, and just really interesting stories like that. And I thought we'd have to get into a more in-depth conversation, so I thought let's do that on here. And she agreed to like come on here and like have a little chat, which I'm really super excited about. So we'll just get into that now, and you'll get to see this interesting chat. So I hope you enjoy this. Hello, Auntie. I'm so thankful that you've met with me. This is great.
Yeah, I like it too. I like it. This is the way to begin the future, our future, your future,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do your intro, Auntie. So you're my beloved Auntie Regina. And so introduce yourself. Tell us who you are.
Yeah, my name is Regina Chwanuka, and although I live in Germany, it was my destiny. I would love very much to live in Uganda. I'm a Ugandan, born and bred, and I'm the daughter to the first Prime Minister of Uganda, Benedicto Kiwanuka, and I would like to go to Uganda to work, connect with you guys when you are abroad, and I'm there, and then I'll be that link. I'll be the liaison for you guys to make things progress.
Yes, I know you're very trusted in things like that. You've already done so much. Like, you're being very humble. Like, you're always going there. You always do your projects there, and you help. You're such a helpful person, for the community and also in projects. So you're definitely trusted in that respect.
And I'm so glad that we are connected. You are my niece.
Yeah.
I'm so glad for that. I'm appreciative. We are going to go a long way, believe me.
Oh, thank you. I believe that, definitely. Yeah. But I just going forward from my talk from the Buganda thing, one of the responses that you made was that in your day, you actually wore clothes made by Ugandan manufacturing, like your school uniforms, your shoes, all of that. So I just wanted you to literally have the floor and talk to me about it. Tell us all about how that was.
Yeah, because I couldn't believe it when you said that we want to put it back as it was, like you were there, yeah? Like you knew about it, because nobody can even imagine that Uganda had its own manufacture, its own products. And because we grew up in the 60s and the 70s, we didn't know of any foreign merchandise. We didn't know of any foreign clothes. Okay, having said that, maybe at home, in some other gatherings, because the British colonized us, so they had these deacons and drapers, these home stores. They had the best clothes from outside, yeah? But that was only for the well-to-do people. But in the schools, we had this material called ginger. Ginger is not just a city. When you say ginger, it means the kind of material. It is not so hard, and it's not so soft, so that you can wash it with your hands. So all the schools, we had materials made from nitile ginger. That's what it was.
It's so nice that you're, sharing those stories, because it made me realize that, your generation and our generation, we need to have more conversations like this for us to, if we're going to make that change going forward, we need to have context of where you guys are coming from, where our background was coming from, so we can take the manufacturing back home. Because in my industry, I'd like to take manufacturing back to where it started in Uganda. Go to those places where the you said cotton was growing in ginger, use those raw materials and make it at home. So like, when did you start to see a change in Ugandan manufacturing? When did it start to decline, when all of the Western fabrics and textile was coming in? Do you know roundabout when you were growing up when it started to change?
Yeah, definitely I know, because it was in late 1970s, in this Idi Amin era regime, everything started deteriorating.
Right.
And from 1980s, when I started to realize this, what they call second-hand clothes.
Yes.
And before that, in the 1960s and 1970s, they were second-hand things, but they were just to present, give away. The Indians, the Asians, just to give away nice things from different countries to exchange. But from 1980, people really started big business with second-hand clothes coming from
Okay.
all over the world.
What was
But
your
before
initial?
that,
Yeah.
because we had bed sheets, I remember bed sheets were white and cotton all over the country. They were made in Uganda. The dresses and the trousers for the men, the kachi, that is the uniform the police people wear, that
Okay.
brown hat thing. Everything was made in ginger. The yarn, the thread to sew, the coffee filters, you name it, it was
Can
all
you
from.
imagine?
Yeah,
So,
but from the
so much has
1990s,
been lost.
we lost a lot. I don't
Yeah.
know if you guys are going to manage to bring everything back, because you have a huge task. You have a huge
Yeah,
do that. Yeah, for
I
us, it has
know.
passed us by.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, it can't be done in one generation. So it's just good for us to have context, and maybe even our children's children. Do you know what I mean? Just to get that movement starting. It
Yeah.
starts with these conversations. It starts with you telling us, and then me doing something about it, me telling other people. So, yeah, I know. I don't, like you said, I don't know how we're even going to get back to that. But yeah, so when you started to see, you said it was the late 1970s. What was your initial reaction to that? Were you and your friends, like, were you excited about all things from abroad? Did you like it, or was it not a good thing? Like, what was your reaction to it?
Yes, I think I liked it, because they think the prices had gone high, and the merchandise in the country, they were scarce. You cannot find things to buy at that
Okay.
time. So it was very much welcome, and people embraced it in Uganda, because we didn't know any better. They didn't teach us, our ancestors, yeah?
Yeah.
Or everything that was done in Jinja, it was done by the Asians. And since Idi Amin expelled them in the 70s, we were lost. So
Yeah.
now when this came in, everybody was asking, if you're abroad, send me this, send me that, I want to sell it. We just embraced it. We didn't even think of it that is going to damage our economy or
Yeah.
any future of our children. Yeah,
Yeah.
up to
Okay.
now. Yeah. So many years later, it's still going.
Yeah, so you saw the effects later. At first it was fun, but then it stopped being fun.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it is so terrible now that I look at it, because we cannot produce anything. We have no products of our own. Nothing.
Yeah,
You go to butter. We used to wear butter shoes.
yeah.
Typical Uganda, made from Uganda, pure. Even the socks in your shoes. You go to this butter. There were so many branches in different cities. All Uganda made. Yeah, but
Imagine.
yeah, late 90s or maybe early 90s. I go back to Uganda. You see Italian shoes. You see everything.
Mm,
Uganda gone.
mm.
Yeah.
See, that's what I would want though. I would want it to be Ugandan made, made by Ugandans. Do you think such a thing could ever exist? Because my vision that I have is to employ women who are like rural workers, and they can still mill fabrics, because traditional milling of fabric, it can be
Yeah.
done rurally, either at home or even on a smaller scale, and then it gets collected by these different villages and then brought to town. That's the type of working mentality I wanted to create, where women who are otherwise without work get employed, and they have a way of making means for themselves, rather than like sticking loads of people in a factory, or do you know what I mean? Like, what do you think about something like that?
It's a very good ideology. It's a very good idea, because there are factories now after maybe, I don't know, 10, 20 years after Idi Amin, the people started creating their own factories. The Mulwana was a Ugandan. This Wavamuno with the Mercedes is a Ugandan. There are some departments. I cannot deny that. So what you are saying, it will be very, very creative, and we need it in Uganda, especially for the women. And look at these napkins for the young girls. Yeah, you are working in this industry with fabrics. You know how to do it. It is very easy for you to learn how to do that, whether it is disposable or not. We need that, and it will be the young girls or the women to do that. And they are yearning for something, but they are suppressed because of this illiteracy, lack of knowledge, lack of real background. So if the young people like you can introduce that to Uganda, it will be the best. Yeah, it will be in the right direction for the better future, what we need.
Okay, thank you. And even any ideas of your own, like what would you suggest for creating, made in Uganda to come back again? What are any of your suggestions? It doesn't even have to be in like the textile industry, just in general. Like, what do you think?
To support the girl child, like the napkins that I've mentioned, you can start from here. You don't have to go to Uganda. You can start soliciting funds in your own way, because now you are on YouTube. You're going to be popular. You can voice it out for the girl child, especially in Uganda. You can pick a village. Doesn't have to be your own. It can be mine in Bukoma Simbi. It can be anywhere in Uganda. And then you have to go there once, see that you bring the merchandise, see how are they going to work. What is the show of this education training center? How are they going to, so they can do it by themselves. You start from there, and then from there you go on, just like you're doing exactly.
I would love to, keep this going, keep these conversations going. Like, I would need, advice from someone like you who's very expertise in this field, just also even support wise. So like, I'd love to continue hearing your suggestions and everything.
Yeah, and I'll be in Uganda soon. Maybe if this work, because in Uganda, these social medias, there's always interruption, but the receiving, the reception. But when I go to Uganda, it would be nice to even to talk to the people down there in my background, and they suggest and you hear what the young girls have to say. Yeah.
Please,
And I would like to go to Uganda to work, connect with you guys when you are abroad, and I'm there, and then I'll be that link. I'll be the liaison for you guys to make things progress.
I'm trying to think of what else I'd like to talk to you about. Are you working on anything at the moment for yourself? Because I saw you back home, you have your farm. I don't know if it's your farm or your garden in your house, but you were digging, you were doing so much. So do you have much agricultural knowledge as well? Like, what other fields are you in?
Yeah, by the way, I don't have any agricultural educational background, but I don't think you need that, because there are offices where you can go for advice. Yeah, but yes, having said that, I'm glad you mentioned it. Farming is my passion, but when we were growing up, Uganda is not a country where you follow on a child's talent or things like that. We just go to school because we have to go to school. If I had my way, I would have taken that. It is very good and enjoyable. The plantations, the coffee plants, and the bananas, the animals we are farming. It is so interesting. And then we have a senior secondary school right over there. So we are going to produce our own foodstuffs, our own commodities in that regard. There's a lot going on. It is just COVID that I was tracked.
I know, because I saw you digging and you had a lot going on. What currently are you farming? Was it yams or something you had?
Yes, the yams, they are sweet and delicious. And they're on the market. They're on the market. You can sell them, you can eat them. And then we have sweet potatoes, we have cassava, we have corn, which is maize, beans, and then the sweet bananas and the matoke, and then some animals there, chicken and and so on. Yeah.
Amazing.
All in one. I'm so glad that my father, the first prime minister, provided us with the land. Yeah, it is very
Yeah,
important
you've got
to
a
use some
lot
kind
of
of land.
land. Yes.
I'm so grateful for that. Yeah.
You're very blessed, very, very blessed. Interesting. Old Uganda for you was where it was at its best. So your aim really is to get us back to old Uganda,
Yes,
like
how it is.
yeah, made at home. Everyone, Uganda was self-catered for. When we had products made by ourselves, the economy was better, and the standard of living, you'd say, was better back then than it is now.
It was
Yeah,
much, much better. The coffee
yeah.
was very good. The cash crops we had plenty. People respected us because of the cash crops we had. We could export and import, which is impossible now because it's just for a few. And the economy in Uganda, you can see, even you can read about it. The people in the villages, they are the poorest. They don't even have clothes. And in the city, they are so rich. It wasn't like that long time ago in the 90s.
Right.
We had a chance to see the best Uganda. It was on the borderline like this. We had.
Okay. And what era are we talking about? Was that, which era was it that was the best, like time-wise?
Yeah, time was in the 1960s. It stopped mid 1970s. That
Okay.
is, yeah, very long time ago, maybe let's say 50 to 60 years ago. Uganda was the best.
Mm,
Uganda was the best. People who come from Tanzania to buy our clothes, to buy our merchandise. People
mhm.
who come from Kenya. It was so beautiful.
That's
It was.
interesting that you said people respected us. So when you say that, you mean like other countries respected us as well. They respected our export. They respected our economy because we had something to offer the world, Is that how you mean, like people respected us as Uganda?
As Uganda, other
Yeah,
countries, we export our coffee
yeah,
Uganda, and
yeah.
cotton was good. You see, the British people, your people, they
Mm,
loved Uganda so much.
mm.
Everything was there. The copper was finished by them. The cotton was too much. We were second to India or Asia.
Wow.
Yeah, a small country like
Amazing.
that. Cotton
You
was
say these
produced
things,
so much.
it sounds like a dream to me because I never saw that in Uganda. So it's just, when
Yeah.
you say these things, I think, wow, like imagine we came from that to here. We definitely need to go back to that. And everyone needs to do their part in making that
Everyone
happen.
needs to do their part. Yeah, just like you said, if everyone does their part, we
Yeah,
can do it in a very short period, like 10 years, because we have all the structures. All we
yeah,
need to do is go along with it and
exactly.
renovate it and progress more. Yeah,
Yeah. We have
in
the raw
terms of
materials, we have the land, like it just needs, people need to work together really.
go back to our cotton farming, go back to our coffee plants because they go together. This cotton that you're going to make, the coffee filters. They're not going to enjoy their coffee without the cotton.
Right.
The fishing nets, people who are going to fish, they're going to take the fishing nets from this cotton. Everything,
Amazing.
cotton is going to give us so much. The thread that you're going to use for whatever you're going to produce, yeah, it is going
Yeah,
to come from that. I wish we could just go back to those days. They
yeah.
were the perfect days for Uganda.
And working structure wise, so um, obviously these days women are a lot more liberated. Would you say back in Uganda, what was the difference between how women were in olden day Uganda and now? Would you say that women have more opportunity or less, or what's the difference really?
Yeah, that one is a very good one because now the women have better opportunities. Back then, they they had to be docile and submissive to domestic events. They
Yeah,
had to step back for their husbands. The husbands had to provide, or the men had to provide for them. And even the girl child was a bit marginalized to go to school. They were We had the schools, they were filled with girls, but still there were many girls that were marginalized. But now it's a bit better because we are recognized as human beings, not second to the man, at
yeah.
least in that regard in
That's
Uganda.
one good thing. But you were one of the very privileged girl childs. You got full education, top education. So, how would you say that affected you? Because that probably allowed you to see it as, girl childs we're entitled to education. Is that the way you see it for you?
When I was younger, I didn't know. I had no idea because
Okay.
I went to an all-girls school. Most of the schools I went to were all girls. I didn't know. I had to realize it later as I grew up. Then I met ladies here in Germany, there in London, or in America, and they were Ugandans. Then I knew this one did not get a chance of an education like I did.
Yeah.
Then I had to read about it. I have to hear about it, and I know it is still happening, but not as much.
Yeah.
But not as much. I was one of the lucky ones, very, very lucky. Yeah, because I grew up in the first family. Everything was there laid out for me. So, but I had to grow up and to realize that many people are still sidestepped in Uganda. Yeah.
And you definitely do your part to give them that education. Like I've seen that firsthand, you know, funding people to go to school, and you know,
Yes.
that's really good. Yeah.
Yes, and the children, the students, they have not even paid any school fees. And the teachers, I have to take it out of my own pocket. I'm teaching them how to drive, and I'm concentrating on the girl child like a mad person, because I think they don't know, they have no idea. And they are capable, they are intelligent. You teach them, they learn immediately. You cannot believe it. But the men, they do not realize that they're losing out. They're losing out on this.
Exactly.
The population.
And that goes back to everybody doing their part, because if you marginalize some people, we can't all get back to, you know, the good part. So
how can I communicate with you? I cannot communicate with you. Who am I going to communicate with if I do not educate the other ones? Yeah.
Yeah. It makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Fine. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think I've got everything we need. That's great. I'll let you go now. Say hi to Zalwi and the little ones.
And you say hello to Mommy and your sister, yeah?
I will do. Thank you.
It was nice. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You're welcome. Thank you too.
Thanks.
Bye.